Hey now, and welcome to another edition of Refreshing Thoughts. I am Chris Fresh, and I'm here to talk about toys, a little bit of life, or whatever comes to my mind. Um, Thank you to the awesome look how I'm looking down here. Where can I find them? The Shine Worldwide for providing that kick-ass theme that you just heard. You can find them on Spotify, YouTube Music, iTunes, Instagram, everywhere that you want to hear awesome rock and roll. Check out Julian James, Benny Mino, and PG3, The Shine. I hear they've got some stuff coming. It's cooking. Probably going to come out before New Guns N' Roses music. Look, I know that's not saying much, but hey, we can all dream. Um, and for those that want to help out the show, you can do so by following Refreshing Thoughts podcast. But I'm going to get off the plugs and get into a bit of discussion. And the first bit I want to ask you is, do I look like a shoplifter to you? Because just before, I was down at the Glen Shopping Centre. My eldest son, Hunter, that's my baby boy, Connor. My eldest son, Connor, is about to have his birthday, and he's getting big, but he's special needs, so he still likes things like Sesame Street, Bluey, The Wiggles, etc. And it's very hard now to get a 16-year-old branded pajamas and clothing and stuff like that. You really have to go to specialty stores. So my wife Jessie suggested to me that I go to Peter Alexander. Now I don't know if people know what Peter Alexander is, but it's a place I've never been in, but it's a bougie pajama shop, really. And at the moment they've got Muppets PJs, and it's getting very cold here in Melbourne. And we thought we'd get Connor a pair of Muppets pajamas, some longs. And number one, my goodness, they were expensive. Number two, I go in there, they're looking at me like, yeah, you don't normally shop in here, but it was fine. My experience at Peter Alexander was fine. But then I went to Target because I wanted to look at the toys myself. I want to get Connor a few extra things. Target, they're giving me some suspicious looks. I'm getting around with the Peter Alexander bag. Apparently, I mean, if you played WCW NWO Revenge on the 64, you must have been a criminal. Look, a lot of us probably did shoplift at the time we were playing that back in the day. But they're looking at me a little weird. I go into JB Hi-Fi. I'm going to TK Maxx because I had Sesame Street placemats that I wanted to get Connor. And then Chemist Warehouse, they practically arrested me checking my bags and stuff. And it's like, I don't know. Am I that sketchy looking? Like, I don't. Melburnians, like, should the Glen be judging me? Like, I understand. I grew up in West Heidelberg. I'm not at Northland with machetes. I'm a respectable citizen of the eastern suburbs now and have been since 2002. I'll have you know, the end of, all right, 2003. But, that's 22 years. Like, I think I've earned my not getting those looks. But yeah, no toys for myself. I was very well behaved. But speaking of, I'm gonna do something really annoying early. Hang on. What you wouldn't have seen then was me quickly pausing to edit because I wasn't prepared. I did get a purchase, a very cheap purchase. The Toy Geeks podcast with Dan Larson and Jay Glatfelter of Geek Dad Life and Secret Galaxy for Dan. You know them, you don't know me. They have been talking about Powers of the Force 2, The Return, which I think we'll get into that ourselves one day. There's a few guests. I keep talking about guests. I'm yet to be able to land one. I've asked Dirty Uncle Mitch, but I think he's still sorting out his setup. But Powers of the Force 2, probably that mid-90s seminal moment of a lot of us getting back into toy collecting. Some of us never left secretly, but this was our coming out party. And there was a figure I always wanted and never got, and it was a mail-away figure. and it was Spirit Obi-Wan. And I remember through the wrestling tape trading scene, there was a guy that was getting in Jack's figures because you couldn't get them in Australia, so he was importing them. I think I still see them at toy fairs. Peter and Evan Metaxas were their names. Um, Evan was the person I was dealing with at the time. Lovely guy. And I was going to get a Spirit Obi-Wan from him. And when I was meant to get it, I lost my job and it was a tough time financially. So I didn't have extra money to be able to get the figures. So I had to sort of blow off my order with him, which I always felt bad about. But listening to their podcast, it made me a little itchy to add one to the collection. And look what turned up. Dirt cheap, like cheaper probably than what I was going to pay Evan. So you're going to get a live unboxing, like the tape. So I don't know if he was available in Australia, but you got him as part of the mail away for chips or crisps, depending on where you're located around the world. And yeah, so let's open him up. Oh, he's still in the baggie. Yeah, it looks pretty legit to me and stuff. Like, I guess he would be easy to do a copy of. You know, I don't know, like in the age of 3D printing. But I don't know. I've just always thought that figure was really cool. He's a bit gummy. Okay, so at the bottom, I don't know if you can see that. It says 1997 Kenner. So I'm assuming this is legit. It's pretty much a cast of the Obi-Wan figure just in bluey green plastic. Is Mecha Godzilla, who's still on the desk, in trouble? Like, I don't know. What do people think? Who should remain on the desk? Should Mecha Godzilla remain on the desk, or does Ghost Obi-Wan use the Force? Does he take the place of Mecha? I'm going to put them both together at the moment. They can just hang out a little bit. But yes, Mecha Godzilla still on the desk for now. I was outraged. We had a house inspection because we're renters, because I was left audio cassettes and spoons from country towns around Australia from my father. We had no money. So never got a leg up on a house, and I've never been lucky enough to own one. So we're renting, and we had a rental inspection. And as we're going through our stuff, there's a lot of squishmallows in our house, and the only squishmallows officially endorsed by me, like I like the Sonic ones that the kids have and Jesse has. Jesse's got a huge collection. Were the Godzilla ones, and I took Mecha Godzilla, Squishy, and Godzilla, and Jessie really likes Mothra, and she had Mothra, and they were sort of just sitting on her bookshelf, and we both agreed it doesn't fit. It You can't see the books and everything. We need to move them, and she's put them in a location, and I always laugh about this with collected houses. I feel it's a little classy. Like there's a framed Phoebe Bridges poster. There's this chest, and they're sitting on top of the chest. And I was like, I don't know about this. At first, I threatened to bring them in here and hang out with me, but I really don't have the room for them. Although I'd happily find a spot for them. I'd probably hang out on the couch and cuddle with them. But I was going to relinquish them to her office where the rest of the squishies are. And she not only left them in where I consider a non-squish area, she put Mothra inside with them. So we've got these three squishies now in this. I don't know. I don't know. But probably by this point, you've seen the title of the episode and thought, I've been clickbaited. And in a way, you have, because I'm trying to get views to the channel, and apparently hot takes and negativity are what people want. And I don't really want to get into negativity so much as hot takes. I don't mind a hot take, I've got plenty of them. And this is going to be a He-Man discussion. I am a passionate lover of He-Man and have been since I was little. Like, yeah, Masters of the Universe, the cartoon was always on, captured my imagination, and the toys I loved. And as I was older, a resurgence came along, And that was what they call the 2000 X Masters of the Universe, or the Mike Young Productions. And I love that series. And it was a big deal at the time because you got to think Powers of the Force 2 is 95-ish. So around 2001, 2002 maybe. I wish the late great Darren Fissler of Toy Power was still with us. He'd yell at me straight away and tell me when it was. Um, and and yeah, it was a big deal that Masters of the Universe was back. I remember opening up the newspaper, and there was an article, and it had, I believe, the Turtles and He-Man, and it was talking about the resurgence of these lines and that they're back. I don't know if it's probably a bit early for the big MPO1 that was in targets for a song for the longest time. I regret not buying 50 of them. But He-Man and the Turtles were back, and the cartoon. I don't know if it was aired in Australia. I remember getting a downloaded copy of it, probably on CD, terrible quality and everything, and then maybe on DVD. But yeah, I love the series. I think most fans love the series. There's a lot of coolness about it. But season two, let's talk about season two. They go heavy Snake Men. They go heavy Snake Men with the toys. They go heavy Snake Men in the story. And I believe that was a mistake. And that's because the Snake Men suck. Okay. With the exception of Kobra Khan. And the reason I love Kobra Khan is as a kid, there was nothing cooler than being able to squirt water out of his head. You could have the world's worst water fight with Cobra Khans. Like, imagine that exclusively. Like, you've got to draw Cobra Khan and try and get a little dribble of water out of there. I don't know. I was a sucker for the gimmicks, even if they sort of sucked. Like, Leech's gimmick sucked with the slime and stuff, but I loved the idea of it. Slime was my forbidden fruit in the 80s. It was absolutely banned in my house because of the damage it would do to carpets. But the funny thing is, in our housing commission house, we had the worst carpet. I don't know what they were so worried about. Let me destroy the carpet. What was the big deal? Anyway, I digress. I just, King Hiss just isn't as good as Skeletor and Hordak, like particularly Hordak. And maybe they were, the Horde were going to come in, etc., etc. But I know there were problems with the time slots and it changing around and Cartoon Network and everything, and maybe the toys didn't sell because it didn't connect with children, etc. Like, there's a lot of reasons why it didn't work. And a lot of you would be far better experts at this than me. I'm a jack of all trades, master of none. Professional wrestling, I'm pretty knowledgeable about, just because I work in it, and obsessed over it. But everything else is just a general love and happiness. I always marvel at people that are real Ghostbusters experts or Star Wars experts or Turtles experts or G.I. Joe, or Transformers. Like, I hear Colin Betts from Canada, like, he's so eloquent in the way he speaks and so knowledgeable and the history and everything. And Darren used to be the same, of Toy Power. I should give them a plug because you should follow them if you haven't checked them out yet. Like, yeah, you get these people that are so knowledgeable about stuff where I know a little bit of everything about everything. But I remember thinking the Snake Men kind of were lame, and when it became He-Man versus the Snake Men, the toys, it didn't really appeal. I kind of dig Snake Armor He-Man now, but at the time I remember going, meh. Fisto was in that, and Fisto is one of my boys. Represent. I don't know what I'm representing. Those who like the fist. But Fisto was in that line. I've got him carded, but yeah, I just feel a bunch of hissy snakes running around compared to Hordak, Grizzlord, Leech, Montana, Mosquito. There are just so many cooler characters in the Horde. And I understand he's more of a Shearer. thing, but to me as a kid, it was all the same. Um, I think the Horde are better, and I think Master Universe 2000X would have had more success if they didn't head down the Snake Men path. And to be honest with you, when the comics have done it, when all this happened, like King Hiss is a DE tier level villain. You know, I would much rather Trapjaw lead an army. Like people rag on Mechaneck and go, "Oh, what does he do? He's just got a stretchy neck." Mechaneck's way cooler than any of the Snake Men except for Kobra Khan. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I'd like to get your opinions on this, and we'll start a hot debate on this. Of do we blame the Snake Men for the demise of 2000X? Because I do. I hold them responsible. They're my least liked in my vintage collection. They're my least liked in my classics. How many origins, different snakes are they going to do now? There's one man that's going to be outraged, and that's Ben Sachs. I wasn't going to mention him by name just to mess with him and just put his handle up on the screen because I know he doesn't watch, he only listens. But Big Saxy from Toy Power, I think he loves his Snake Men. The only snakes I'll thumbs up to is Cobra in GI Joe, Cobra Kai, particularly when it was led by Johnny. Who are the other great snakes? I didn't particularly like the snake that bit Macho Man Randy Savage. Damien was cool when Jake the Snake had it. But no, the Snake Men in He-Man, no good. You know, snake that Van Damme took out, didn't like that snake. Jean Claude, not Rob Van. Like, I just wonder if we had have got the Horde and you're setting up Hordak versus Skeletor, if that had have appealed to the nostalgia in many of us. Like, even Mattel Creations are claiming that people voted for this Snake Lair thing over an animation style attack track in that. And I just, am I the crazy one here in, like, who wants this many snake products from Masters of the Universe? Like, I don't understand it. It's just kind of lame. I think the Horde, like Shadow Weaver, is in the Horde as well. It's just there's not one Snake Man character that's better than a Horde character. And like the vintage figure of King Hiss with these little snake arms and stuff, and he's wearing a bandit mask, like only the Hamburglar can really pull that off. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's just not for me. Sorry about that. Jesse came out and needed a cuddle. It's like, well, sometimes you got to give your wife a cuddle. But yeah, I don't have a lot more to add to it. I'd be interested to hear what everybody thinks. Like, am I just a snake hater? But I, I just don't dig them. Like, and I, I really have very little interest if I don't know if they're going to do a third season of the Netflix animation. I'd love it if they did, but it feels like it's solidly heading down a Horde path, with Despar and stuff. I did manage to pre-order that, which is really cool. Love the character in the comics. Excited to see her pop up in the cartoon, and yeah, it was cool to get the figure. It takes a lot for me to get excited about an Origins figure these days. Like they've said all they need to say with Origins, and I remember Toy Power did a retrospective, a really good one. Scotty's a huge Origins collector. I think Trent is too. And I was listening to it. I think the line's really cool, but then I was like, I'd just rather complete my vintage one as much as I could because, the Giants and Eternia and stuff probably weren't going to happen. And I almost got the Origins Eternia and I didn't. And as much as I'd like to say I've got it, I just don't know where I'd put it. It's like the Super 7 Thundercats lair. I just I you can't have it all. You know, I've got the Mondo Ghostbusters coming, and those sets are going to be amazing. You know, they're probably going to be in the lounge. They're fancy. Um, and I've got the HasLab Ecto 1 coming, and that's a big boy, you know, and there's not a lot of space. And I'm in a room full of collectibles, you know, and I've got the Super Shredder, Mondo soft vinyl still to come. And Bebop and Rocksteady, I'm probably going to get. Another thing I'm going to introduce on the show once I get better about adding media assets and stuff because I don't want to pull them out of my cabinets. Is talking about some of my favorite characters and why I collect them. So I'm an Ultra Magnus guy. I'm a Fisto guy. I'm a Bebop and Rocksteady guy. I'm a Trapjaw guy. You know, like when they bring out Bret Hart, when they bring out figures of these people, I'll get them, you know, and I want to talk about the characters and why I like them and perhaps my favorite versions of them, etc., etc. You know, I'm not really a completist on anything because it's hard. You know, you sort of had, I think, some stuff you've got to get in early. I'm trying to think in Star Wars, like who my guy would be. Maybe Max Rebo. He's really cute. But yeah, like so I want to get to episodes where I feature my guys or girls, you know, in terms of favorite characters. And going out of my way to collect them. Like, you know, if Bebop and Rocksteady come out, unless they're terrible, like those is it NECA that were doing the reimagined like what they would have looked like in the 90s movies? Not for me. But for the most part, I'll get Bebop and Rocksteady. I've got to be careful. Mad Hatter almost sold me on a Joy Toy Krang before the review, and it was like, Mia, don't you dare. I don't need to head down that path. And yeah, it's you know, you got to be careful. Like Retro Toy Princess Allison, like Quip. Like, there's lots of people that'll suck you into buying stuff that you didn't know you needed, didn't even know you wanted. I was in Toy Mate on the weekend and had a bit of a chuckle because I remember my good friend Julian James from The Shine. He was so excited to see the Warner Brothers characters dressed up in Batman and Superman outfits and stuff. And he was trying to get our new thing is holding the packet above somebody's head and going, "Oh, try it on, see how it feels. Do you like it?" I don't know. We find it funny. People will look at it as weird. He was so excited to get it. They can't give those things away. The Harry Potter versions of them, the DC versions of them, cannot give them away. What else is there before I go? Because I did sort of just upload an episode recently. I just wanted to get back on the Wednesday not algorithm, but rhythm of recording. The reason I do it Wednesdays is my wife usually sleeping because she works at night, and my daughter has a course at night. So, and the boys, it's the one night of the week that they're not here. So, it's a great opportunity for me just to do something like this. Um, I'm going to America, going specifically to meet my wife's family, who are based in Texas, but then we're going to LA. And I'm really excited to go to Dallas Vintage Toys. More excited than probably I should be to go to Targets and Walmarts, and maybe check out some antique vintage markets and stuff. And hoping in LA to get to Frank and Sons finally. But if any of you think there's somewhere in Dallas or LA that I should be checking out that I'm missing, let me know. I'm going to try doing some short videos and do that. You know, it's not my expertise to live things, but I thought you might find it interesting having an Australian in a Walmart or a Target showing my toy experience and what I think of it and what the pricing is and what they've got. Or going to an Ollie's or a TJ Maxx, as they call it in America. We call it TK Maxx here. So yeah, got that coming up. Looking forward to going away. Haven't been to America since 2016. Went in 2014, went to WrestleMania 30, and went in 2016 and went to WrestleMania 32. WrestleMania 32 sucked, but we ended up in a corporate private box with a butler named Paul. I don't know why I remember his name, but unlimited food and drink. And show sucked, but man, it was really cool being in a skybox at Cowboy Stadium. We enjoyed that. But yeah, so this is non-wrestling related. The funny thing is, I fly in to Dallas the day after AEW All In, like I miss it, and I fly out just before or just as San Diego Comic Con's going on. So I'm missing those things, but it's not that sort of trip. It's not the reason I'm going. And sure I could watch it AEW, I guess, but Comic Con is an interesting concept to me. I don't know how much fun I'd have. If I could easily get into a panel and sit down and take it in and stuff, would I enjoy that? Yeah. But the crowds and pressure and everything like that like it's not for me. Like I like my space. I like taking time. I like not being pushed around. Everything. So I'm not sure if a San Diego Comic Con or a Star Wars Celebration is my scene. I don't know. But more on that to come. But yeah, so my hot take: Horde better than Snake Men. Would love to hear your opinions. Post them, say it loud, say it proud. If you're pro Snake Men, tell me why. Tell me why I'm wrong. I'd love it. I love hearing what people are passionate about and what they love about it. I'm not going to yuck your yum, but if I do yuck your yum, don't yuck me yucking your yum, because sometimes I like yucking yums. That whole saying is new to me. Yucking someone's yum. But I have been using it a bit lately. But yeah, I don't mean to yuck the Snake Men's if they're your yum. Now I'm saying it so many times it sort of sounds weird. But yeah, no, I'm sorry, the Snake Men suck. And that's just how it is. If you're a Snake Man person, you're probably not going to want to subscribe to my Patreon, where for $5 Australian a month, you can join the tens of other people that are supporting my podcasts that are, where have I put them on my thing? Geek Dudes, Hey, it's the podcast, and of course, Refreshing Thoughts. You can find them where all good podcasts are found, and Refreshing Thoughts, obviously, on YouTube. And I have a Patreon where for $5 a month Australian, you can go to patreon.com/C/Refreshing Thoughts podcast/membership. And it helps support the show. Transistor FM and StreamYard charge money to host the show and upload it. Doesn't come for free. We're not getting rich off it, but if it covers our costs, it's greatly appreciated. So but I understand it's tough times as well. So I always say no pressure. But if you want to support the show, that is a great way to do it. Another way to do it is view the show on YouTube. Give it a like, comment underneath it. That sort of engagement helps. Sharing it on social media, that all helps. It gets the word out there. I appreciate everybody that has taken the slightest bit of time to like a post or give a comment or something. It's a privilege to me that you choose to check out any project that I do. I am Chris Fresh. This has been Refreshing Thoughts, and I will speak to you pretty soon.